Hello photographers, today I'm going to show you how to shape light. And shaping light is really all about controlling light. And there are a few tools that you can use to do that. The first is flags, the second is grids, and the third is cookies. So for the first example, we're going to use a flag. And right now, as you can see, I've got my light set up over here, and there's a ton of light spilling all over the backdrop. I am pretty well lit, but that backdrop is also lit, and frankly, it doesn't look very good. So what we're going to do here is use a flag to control that light, to shape the light, and block it off from hitting the background and just allow it to hit me as the subject. Now I've got my flag set up for this already. It's this here, which is 3 pieces of foam core board that I got from the dollar store that are just taped together. And what I'm going to do is get up here on my stool and hang this in such a way that it blacks out that background. Now I was looking at my smartphone with my remote app on it so that I could see where the light was being blocked. And as you can see, if I stand back too far, I come into the shadow because the light is being blocked by the flag. But if I stand up here, now the light is able to get past the flag and illuminate me. However, the flag is keeping all of that light from hitting the background. So here we've successfully shaped light. But let's take that a step further. Let's say you want to shape the light in a different way. Maybe we want some of that light to hit the background so that it looks like the light is coming through a window. Let's set that up again using flags. So here you can see I've created a shape using my flags. What I've done is essentially create a window frame. I flagged off from the top, I flagged off the left and the right and the bottom to create this window frame look behind me on the backdrop. Now this still looks a little incongruous because I'm actually standing up here and being lit by the light before it gets through here and into the backdrop. But if I take a few steps back, I am suddenly in the window light, and it looks a lot more realistic. Now, it's not just about using flags to shape light on your background. You can actually use flags to shape light on your subject as well. So let me show you what that looks like. Let's say we want to take a really dramatic portrait of our subject, my mannequin sitting right here. I've got the lights in the same position they were in, and now we're back to all of this spill on the background. So the first thing we're going to do is flag that light off like we did before. But now we want to do a couple other things. Number one, we want to take out the torso in this shot. We don't want to come in with the camera. So what we're going to do is bring a flag in to block that out. And if I bring just this piece of foam core over here and hold it up, you'll see when we block that light out. So I just come up, 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 and here you can start to see it's coming out. Now, one of the other things you'll notice is as I do this, it's creating a soft cut off. And the reason it's creating a soft cutoff is because I am very close to the lights. If I want a harder edged cutoff, I need to come farther away from the light. So now I can really start to black out her torso and just focus the attention on her head and neck. Now let's look at another classic example. Let's say you want to focus the light entirely on her eyes. If we come up from the bottom with the flag, we can put that shadow in, and if we come down from the top, we can do the same thing. Now I'm holding these so it's not super perfect, but you get the idea. By using these flags, I've created this really intense slit of light that focuses almost entirely on the subject's eyes. Now we're going to take a look at cookies. Cookies are a way to create interest in your scene. Cookies are also sometimes referred to as gobos. And what a cookie is a flag with some kind of pattern cut out of it. So I have a cookie right over here. And what I want to do with that cookie is create some interest on my background. I'm going to bring this cookie in, and in doing so, you should see the change on the background. Now I've got something that's more interesting. The background is broken up by the light that's allowed to pass through the shapes that are cut into the flag or the cookie. Now, one of the important things about using a cookie is what I mentioned earlier when we were using the flags to shape the light on the subject, which is the closer your control tool is to your light, whether it be a cookie or a flag, the softer the edges are going to be, which you can see on the background right now. But if I take this cookie and I move it further away, you'll see the edges start to sharpen up. Now, of course, the cookie here is in frame, and the edges look a little bit weird because they're not covering the entire backdrop. You can only see part of it. In most cases, you wouldn't necessarily use a cookie with your main light on your subject, but rather have a dedicated background light with your cookie to just light up your background and create that pattern that you want. Now, cookies are great because they're super easy to make. You can use a piece of foam core like this and just cut a bunch of holes in it. You can use a house plant. You can use anything you want. And you can also use it on your subject. For instance, if I put it over here, I've now got kind of a dappled look on me as the subject because some of that light is coming through, some of it's being blocked by the cookie. And again, it creates a more interesting look if that's what you're looking for. Now, we're going to switch gears in just a moment and talk about grids, but I do want to make a quick point, which is that I've been doing this with LED lights so that you can see it as it's happening in the video. But you absolutely can and should do this with flash. I use these tools with flash all of the time. The downside to flash, though, is that if you don't have a flash with a modeling light, it's harder to control the light because you can't see the light until you've taken a photograph. Now, you can just take photographs and then reposition your controlling tools until you get the look that you want, but a simpler thing might be to get a few LED lights like the ones that I have here and essentially use those as modeling lights. Stand them in the same position that your light will be in and use those to guide the positioning of your flag and then actually shoot the photos with your flashes. And with that, we're now actually going to switch to flash to show you how to use a grid to shape your light. So we've switched things out a little bit here. I've got my Godox AD200 on my bracket here with an umbrella. And we are going to talk about grids in a minute, but before we do that, I actually wanted to talk about shaping your light with your modifier itself, because your modifiers will play a huge role in how your light looks and how it is shaped. So we're going to start with an umbrella right here, and we're going to take a photo of me to see what that looks like. So if we take a look at that picture, you can see that I am nicely lit by the light from the umbrella, but there's also a good deal of light spilling onto the background out of the umbrella. And if you don't want that, that's where you can shape and control your light by using a different modifier. If you still want soft light, then you're going to want something that's going to block the spill. Now, yes, you could do it with flags, and that would be perfectly fine. But you can also do it with the modifier itself. And in this case, that would be a softbox. So here we have the softbox traded out for the umbrella. I didn't change the position of the light at all. And we're going to take a picture here and see how this shapes the light. You should be able to see that there is a pretty dramatic difference here. There is still some spill getting onto the background, a little bit which you can see directly behind me, but it's actually a lot more uniform because the softbox is blocking and controlling that light way better. Looking at the umbrella shot, you can see a majority of that spill was on the one side of the frame, the same side that the umbrella was on, because that light was spilling out of the umbrella directly onto the backdrop. Whereas with the softbox, some of that spill is coming out and moving back, but the softbox itself is controlling and shaping the light for you. Now, the next thing to look at is a grid itself. And a grid looks like this. Once again, I have not changed the position of the light at all. All I have done is added this grid to it. And what a grid does is control and shape the light even further. And it's going to control that spill, that little bit of spill that we were getting on the backdrop. Let me show you what I mean. If you look at this shot and compare it to the shot without the grid, you should see that the grid has eliminated that little bit of spill that we were getting onto the backdrop. So that is how you shape light. And if you'd like to get my free guide to shaping light, you should visit this link right here. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. And if you like this video and you want more, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon. And then get out there and take some damn photos.